Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
There she is. If you're watching Facebook Live, YouTube Live, it is Erin Wiedman. She's a best-selling author, speaker, radio personality. Look out, Dan. And a five-time...
She was smart and got out of radio, right?
Yes. A five-time cancer survivor. She has a new book out. It is called Ringleaders. It's in the Rooney Cruise series, and it is hot off the press. Erin, how are you?
I'm good. Rick, Dan, it's so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we wanted to, there are a lot of things that Dan and I can't speak about. So we want to bring people on so that obviously there is an audience. There are people who have young girls, grandchildren, their parents or whatever. And it's your calling to basically empower young ladies so that they know who they are in Christ. And that's just amazing. Before we get into the book, let's talk a little bit. Now, this got my attention. A five-time cancer survivor. You were diagnosed with thyroid cancer. You were in isolation. You had surgery, multiple treatments, and you're 100% cancer-free right now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome. I never expected to have a clean bill of health. I'm 8 years cancer-free. In the meantime, I've gotten married, had 2 children. So I've really been blessed throughout my journey. But yeah, I mean, dealing with it 5 times over 5 years was really hard. But man, I've come through a lot, and life has really been an amazing and beautiful adventure.
Now, you were 26 when you were diagnosed. And was it during or after that you recognized that you had a higher calling to do what you're doing now?
Well, I mean, I grew up in church and didn't really feel connected to God at all. So walked away, spent 10 years making every mistake on the planet. And then during the middle of that first diagnosis, I was trying to do everything by myself. I couldn't see a hope or a future or anything like that. So that was really just the turning point in my own life to start asking some of those questions, like what was I made to do and what are my gifts and who were those gifts for? So I felt called to get into the classroom and become a teacher. So I spent the next almost 10 years as an educator teaching kids of many different backgrounds. That's really where the pull to this higher calling, this idea of coming alongside the next generation of girls to pour into them really came from.
Now, Erin, talk about this next generation of girls, the things that they're facing that are completely different than what we faced, and people who are even in their late 20s.
So I mean, absolutely. And there are parallels to what the grown-up girls.
Uh-oh, I think we froze here.
I think she's frozen there. Well, she does live in Montana. That could be.
that could be. And now she's circling. Let's see if it comes back up.
Comes back on. Erin and her husband actually lived in San Diego for a long, long time. Then they just recently moved to Montana, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk to her about, why she moved from the beach to Montana.
Yeah, especially there. She's back. Okay. All right, go ahead. You started to answer the question, and then it went off. So go ahead, and if you'll answer the question.
Yeah, no worries. So girls today, I mean, what they're facing really parallels what we, the grown-up girls, the adult women, experienced growing up. But they have some real challenges in front of them in terms of social media and an identity crisis and comparison and beauty, all the things that the world is constantly telling girls they need to be valued, to be strong and successful as young women. So we really felt called to create something that would connect girls to positive women, these heroes they can look to, they can emulate, as a way to understand, I can tackle life's challenges with grace and grit and confidence and grow my character in such a way that I can be a positive light out in the world.
Erin Wiedman here, best-selling author, speaker, and she's got a brand new book out. She's called to empower young girls to understand their God-given worth. The book is called Ringleaders. It's in the Rooney Cruise series there. What number are we on in this series? Is this number 2, Erin?
I mean, first series, it was 5 books. So this is our 12th book. So
Wow.
Yeah, we've been busy over at Bible Bells, highlighting women from the Old Testament, the New Testament. So yeah, it's been quite a journey in 5 years to create so many great resources and hear about how they're blessing girls all over the world. It's been really cool.
Since you've done the series, it's a long series. how do you get your ideas? Do you feel at any point you're like, okay, well, I've tapped out on this one. Now what do I do?
No, I feel like I turned my teacher brain on to try to understand who are the women that we can really point girls to that will get them excited and enthusiastic about, tackling the challenges that come their way, right? And it's not as simple as let's highlight every single story. Really prayed and worked creatively through the process to identify who the women would be that would bless girls in a very specific way as parents and adults aim to grow their character toward this idea of leadership, what it means to lead and influence and be a positive light out in the world. So there were some women in the Old Testament that helped me do that. And then these 6 women in the New Testament really give girls a leg to stand on, a framework for how they're going to tackle what they face in terms of what real leadership and living life fully and loving people faithfully is going to be all about in the here and now in the present day.
Awesome. Erin, what do you hear from the young girls that read your series, and are they able to connect really well with the characters in there? And what do you hear from parents as far as how it's helping their young girls?
I would say, that's the best part of what I get to do is when I get a message on Facebook or Instagram, or I get a physical letter in the mail from a sweet little girl who's written me a drawing about what the series means to her. And then hearing from parents, not just in the United States, but literally all over the world, talking about how they can have these hard conversations about abstract ideas like beauty and identity and purpose and things that are really hard to talk about as adults with like even the youngest kids. You can sit down, have a really rich and meaningful reading experience as you work through the stories of these women. And it gives adults entry points to be able to tackle hard conversations and introduce concepts that for young people are really, really hard to wrap your brain around. So that's what I love so much about it, is just hearing from everybody who's being blessed by the series.
Yeah. This latest book is called Ringleaders, Exploring Female Heroes in the New Testament. You put this all down on paper and computer, however you put it together. Which one of the heroes do you think you relate to the most, or maybe more than one?
Oh man, there's so many good ones. Mary, the mother of Jesus, who was visited by an angel one day and didn't even worry about any of the details for how the angel was radically going to change. God was radically going to change her life right from that moment. She didn't even hesitate. She just said, I'll be obedient to what you're telling me is God's plan for my life. She didn't overanalyze or obsess about the details the way we tend to do as men and women. She just said yes. And God was able to powerfully work through her. So I think when we sort of peel back all the layers of pressure and stress and worry that this world puts on us, it's really more about saying yes to whatever opportunities, big, medium, small, whatever comes your way, that we wouldn't hesitate, that we would boldly step into those opportunities and say yes to the Lord, because he can move in those experiences.
Erin, is there one of the stories that you wrote? Just looking through them, obviously you've got several different women from the Bible that you kind of weave in. Is there one that kids just like, this is awesome and this is great, that you weren't really expecting them to really relate to?
Yeah, I think the story of Mary Magdalene, we follow the story of Jesus and his ministry, and we always see it through the lens of these 12 disciples that followed him around. But what people and what my sweet little readers don't really realize is that Jesus had women disciples. He had females that, number one, financially backed his ministry, and number two, were some of the most faithful and devoted followers to go with him throughout the towns where he was ministering to people. So I think for girls, like, something inside a little girl lights up when she can connect with her heroes. And I love being able to frame the story of Mary Magdalene and say, hey, the people who followed Jesus, the people who had an important role in starting the early church and getting the good news out to the world, weren't just men. There were a lot of cool women inside the life and ministry of Jesus. And I think for girls, we really need those examples.
Yeah. Erin Wiedman here. She is an author, speaker, radio personality, 5-time cancer survivor. What a story in this series. It's called Ringleaders. We've got to go to a break here in a second, Erin, but what is one thing you want the young girls to get out of this latest book, and would it be the same that their moms would want them to get?
Always the same, right? Grown-up girls are the ones that are discipling the next generation. So I would say, the two goals for Bible Bells, any resource we put out, but specifically this book, know your value, live on purpose.
Love that. Erin Wiedman, go to BibleBellsThere.com. We'd love to talk to you again. And I'd love to pick your brain sometime about why did you move from beautiful San Diego? I used to live there. to, I'm sure, beautiful Montana. You and your family.
Yeah, and 3 weeks before I had a baby, no less. We're crazy. The Vitamins are on an insane life adventure. So I would love to share more about that later.
Why wait 3 weeks when you can just move now?
Do that.
Erin, thank you so much. Blessings to you. Love to talk to you after the first of the year. We can catch up on this book or something that you're working on for 2021. Thank you for doing what you do. You're amazing. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Rick and Dan. It's been so great.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.